Is this really how you want to... One Network News with Tom Bradley and Anita McNaught.
Tonight, a forestry worker is charged with the murder of a Napier schoolboy.
Gorbachev faces the toughest challenge yet to his leadership as party rifts deepen.
And Chernobyl, 5 years after the meltdown, a second disaster is looming.
Good evening. A man is in prison tonight after being charged with the murder of a 7-year-old Napier boy.
Police arrested the man last night for burglary and later charged him with the murder of Simon Rennie. The arrest comes 8 days after two brothers...
is facing a further challenge to his presidency. A leader of the country's Conservative deputies, Yuri Blokhin, is demanding that he declare a state of emergency or face a vote of no confidence. The BBC's Ben Brown reports.
The government's plan is to impose a temporary ban on strikes like the one by Soviet miners, which is now nearly 2 months old and which has had a disastrous impact on the economy. The one-year emergency program would also punish republics which refuse to pay their contributions to the central budget. It would privatize loss-making enterprises, and it promises to complete price reform by next October. But the Soviet parliament debated at least 4 other economic plans in the last 18 months, and few deputies there are pinning their hopes on this one. The Prime Minister, Mr. Pavlov, has described this country's economy as rolling downhill at enormous speed. The aim of his anti-crisis program, which is being debated here today, is to apply the brakes, but not many people are confident it will succeed. And for Mr. Gorbachev, now back from his unsuccessful tour of the Far East, this week will see yet another test of his leadership. On Wednesday, the Central Committee will meet amid a growing clamour for his resignation as General Secretary of the Communist Party. He might see some advantages in leaving that post and staying on as president, but it would rob him of a significant power base, which at the moment he can ill afford to lose.
The Times newspaper in Britain is 5 years since the world witnessed the catastrophe it hoped would never happen. When a nuclear reactor exploded, it released 70 times more radioactivity than the Hiroshima bomb. Its effects remain surrounded in secrecy. A Soviet filmmaker, Galina Sanderson, is in New Zealand this week to reveal some of the consequences. Her documentary, To Whom It May Concern, examines the plight of the people who live in the shadow of Chernobyl. I'll talk to her in a moment, but first, Chernobyl 5 years on. Chernobyl. 5 years ago this week, it became the site of the world's worst nuclear disaster. 1 a.m., April the 26th. Nuclear reactor number 4 explodes. Radiation spreads over the Ukraine and the neighboring Republic of Belarus. The world knew nothing as firefighters and soldiers fought to control an uncontrollable disaster. They were among many who would later pay with their lives.
Every mother is hoping for the best. It's not very easy. The disease is dreadful. I believe in God. Pray. Perhaps he will hear and help. Perhaps my son will recover and God will let him see the world.
This child died 3 days after being filmed. How many have died may never be known. The official figure is 31, but top Soviet scientists are now claiming the death toll is nearer 10,000 so far. A government decree keeping details of the contamination top secret includes the medical reports of victims. While some areas were evacuated, people still live in villages and towns only recently declared unsafe. 70% of the fallout from Chernobyl rained down on Belarus. More than 2 million people there were exposed. Galina Sanderson spent several months filming these people. She found they know less about what's going on than we do in the outside world. What they do know is their children are dying.
I'm trying not to cry in his presence. He is already old enough to understand everything. And before the operation, he used to say, "Nothing hurts me," but his condition is so grave. I believe in our medicine. I hope they will do something.
And they're frightened and angry enough to speak out against the authorities who tell them they're only suffering from radiation phobia.
They have been keeping silent for 4 years. The 5th year has come. Silence. Our government isn't conscience-stricken. Yes, they are shameless and impudent. They haven't been telling anyone the truth for 5 years. Anyone. I want these criminals to pay one day for what they have done to our people.
To the people in this documentary, Chernobyl is still happening. And new reports this week show a second disaster is looming. While Chernobyl's other reactors still operate, the concrete sarcophagus around the damaged reactor is crumbling and could collapse. That would release hundreds of tons of radioactive dust into the atmosphere. For the local people, the nightmare of the last 5 years would start all over again. Well, what sort of health problems have you seen in the area?
First of all, it is thyroid gland increasing, thyroid cancers, leukemia, different kind of neurosis, pneumonia, gastritis, bronchitis, allergy, birth defects, and so on.
How are the people coping with this? Are they angry now?
Yes, they are very angry. When I went there, I was really frightened because it seemed they will beat me. They're so angry about those foreign correspondents who come every week to their places and then they leave, and nothing is changing after that.
But surely they expect more help from the government.
Of course, they expect this help, and this help is only 30 or 15 rubles, which they call coffin money. They receive this kind of compensation for this event, and nothing else.
What needs to be done in the region?
First of all, these people have to be relocated, have to be replaced to other places.
How many people are we talking about here? Must be millions.
Yes. In Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus, it is 4 million people, and in Belarus only 2.2 million, and among them 1 million children.
Is it likely these people will be relocated, all these millions?
Maybe it will be after all, but till now the government has no this program of general strategy of relocation, and even I can say that those money which they had or they received from the old Union government, they spread for building new settlements and schools in the contaminated areas instead of relocating these people.
Why did they do that?
They ignored these scientific theories of danger, and they didn't hear anybody, so they decided that it will be better to build new schools and to prove in such way, they prove that it is very safely to live in these areas.
They tried to play the whole problem down.
Right.
What is going to happen if these people are not treated adequately, if they're not relocated outside the contaminated area?
We had already a lot of demonstrations and strikes in these areas, and people even marched to Minsk, to the governmental building, and demanded to be relocated. And if it is not so, I think the situation will be more hot. So we can expect more strikes and more suicides and a lot of unexpected situations too.
And of course many more people dying.
Of course.
Soviet filmmaker Galina Sanderson on the bleak future for Chernobyl victims.
Back home, and 6 months ago, Labour faced a bleak